Have you ever wondered that no matter how hard you try, you often give up your goals? Are you just lazy? Do you have ADD? I kind of wonder about that. Are you just too tired? Surely I just need caffeine. Or maybe I just don't have willpower. That's why I can't do it. Hi there. I'm Teresa Potter. I'm a retired biochemist, chemistry teacher, athlete, and founder of Heirloom Apothecary. I have dedicated my life to exploring ancient wisdom that is supported by cutting edge science. Whether your goals are to eat right, hit a new fitness milestone, feel more peace and joy, master your anxiety or depression, get that promotion or you name it, an avalanche of scientific studies all point to one foundational practice. And the best part, it's free. Can you guess what the number one mistake is that will crush your goals and your health faster than anything else? Stay tuned as we dig into the ancient wisdom and the cutting edge science, then explore 11 lifestyle practices that are fully supported by scientific research. Then you'll want to choose one or a few to try this week. Be sure to stay to the end for an extra special bonus that will ensure that you will crush that number one mistake instead of your goals and health. Are you like me? All through college, I worked nearly full time. I carried a full load of coursework, routinely pulled all-nighters, tried hard to exercise, and yes, I had a certain amount of success. While I graduated with good grades, I supported myself and I was fit, but at what cost? I felt horrible most of the time. I was anxious, frenzied, and strung out. I had the quintessential Puritan work ethic that if I just worked harder, I would be successful. Everyone else I knew was burning the candle at both ends to make ends meet. Why should I be any different? Then I married my other half and started a family. While I loved my 3 babies, I felt just as frenzied, strung out, anxious, and was just as unhappy as in college. I just had to do what it takes to get everything done, right? Sleep was a luxury. Rarely did I have a full night's sleep, or one that was uninterrupted. I honestly thought sleep was a waste of time. Why should I spend 1/3 of my life in bed? After all, I recalled my father priding himself that he only needed 4 or maybe 6 hours of sleep on a bad night, as he would fall asleep in a chair the few times he ever sat down. Why didn't I see the fallacy? I honestly thought sleep was a waste of time. Just work harder as long as you can. Surely I just needed to prioritize my goals, make better action steps, stop procrastinating. Can you relate? Are you living this lifestyle now? Unfortunately, I continued this survival way of living during my graduate work and teaching career until I retired in my mid-60s. While I had spikes of high goal achievement, I concurrently had crashing valleys of health and well-being crises, including 2 nervous breakdowns. Never once did I understand the number one mistake that was crushing my well-being and health as I strove to achieve my goals. Have you guessed what the number one mistake that will crush your goals and health is? Let's look at ancient wisdom. I'll bet you've all heard this. Early to bed, early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise. Ben Franklin. Sleep is the best meditation. The Dalai Lama. Each night when I go to sleep, I die. And the next morning when I wake up, I am reborn, Mahatma Gandhi. A well-spent day brings happy sleep. Leonardo da Vinci, my hero. There is a time for many words, and there is also a time for sleep. Homer. Health is the first muse, and sleep is a condition to produce it. Ralph Waldo Emerson. Retire to your bed early that you may not be weary. Arise early that your bodies and your minds may be invigorated. Doctrine and Covenants 88, 124. And how many times did I hear my mother say that her mother and her mother before her used to say, do you follow that? That every hour of sleep you have before midnight is better than 2 hours after midnight. I always just blow that out. Yes, you guessed it. The number one mistake that will crush your health and goals is sleep. Let's look deeply at the heirloom practice that my great-grandmothers passed down to me, yet I ignored. Every hour of sleep you have before midnight is better than 2 hours of sleep after midnight. Is there any validity to that? Isn't 8 hours of sleep 8 hours of sleep? Whether it started at 8 p.m., 10 p.m., midnight, 2 a.m., 8 hours is 8 hours. I can add. Is there any scientific evidence to support this age-old advice? Sleep is indeed the number one mistake that will crush my goals and health. Let's quickly unravel the science, and then we'll explore 11 practices as a buffet from which you can choose one to master your well-being this week. In 2017, Hall, Rosbach, and Young won the Nobel Peace Prize for their research on circadian rhythms. No longer was this fringe science concept a theory. It is now accepted in all scientific circles as a foundation on which to rethink our paradigm for sleep, health, and well-being. That is interesting because the first known ancient Indian Ayurvedic text in 2000 BC outlined this concept of a body clock that is aligned with the 24-hour light and dark cycles. Traditional Chinese medicine grew out of the Indian tradition and is also built around a 24-hour body clock. It only took Western medicine 4,000 years to scientifically prove this ancient wisdom. In a nutshell, circadian rhythms are the physical, mental, and behavioral changes an organism experiences over a 24-hour cycle. I say organism because most living things have circadian rhythms, including animals, plants, and even microorganisms in your gut. In humans, nearly every tissue and organ also have their own rhythm or clock within that larger cycle. Collectively, they are tuned to the daily cycle of day and night and regulate sleep patterns, body temperature, hormone release, appetite, and digestion. When we alter this natural light and dark sleep-wake cycle, mental and physical health issues arise. According to the National Institute of Health, many learning difficulties, poor coordination, and increased risk of mood disorders, blood pressure problems, obesity, diabetes, health disease, and yes, even cancer may occur from long-term sleep loss and continually shifting the circadian rhythm. So Ben Franklin, the Doctrine and Covenants, and my great-grandmothers were truly onto something. When we go to bed truly matters. If you would like a deep dive into circadian rhythms, see the description below for the link to the NIH website. If you would like me to cover this topic and other stages of sleep and why they are important in more detail, pause this video right now and let me know by commenting below. Yes, the ancients and my great grandmothers were right. And that's because we have an internal biological clock or circadian rhythm that sends signals to our brain that it's time for sleep once the sun goes down. Sounds pretty basic and intuitive, doesn't it? By going outside of our circadian rhythm or disrupting it, we can potentially throw off our internal biological clock and therefore impact our physical and mental health. Let's dig into some science supported practices that will help you get back in tune with your natural circadian rhythm, and you will be better able to accomplish your goals and improve your health. The first practice is to embrace natural morning light. Watch the sunrise, even if it is a cloudy day. The yellow and blue light wave patterns that enter your eyes travel down into deep into your brain and set your circadian clock. If you wake later than sunrise, your circadian clock gets shifted because the light comes in too late. If you consistently wake after sunrise, say mid-morning, your circadian clock shifts and you start operating as if you live on a different time zone, and you are basically giving yourself jet lag. Repeatedly watching the sunrise will help reset your clock. Second practice, breakfast, if you eat it, and lunch should be protein and vegetable rich and rather low in carbohydrates. This will increase your alertness, and if you have a lull in the mid afternoon, have a protein rich snack. Third practice, stop caffeine intake at noon, or in other words, 10 hours before bedtime. Even if it doesn't affect your going to sleep and staying asleep, it is scientifically proven that caffeine intake after noon will decrease your REM sleep or deep sleep by 30%. It literally, biologically ages you by 10 to 12 years. Consequently, you wake not rested and need more coffee. If you normally need 1 to 2 cups per day, you will gradually increase the number of cups to 3 or 4 or more because of the lack of deep sleep. The fourth practice, limit alcohol intake. Even 1 glass of wine at dinner will decrease your REM sleep. It will, in fact, decrease your growth hormone release by 50%. Growth hormone repairs and grows new cells. Ever heard of getting your beauty sleep? Many people feel that alcohol helps them sleep. Sleep studies of brainwave patterns show that alcohol only sedates, slowing the body and brain down, but doesn't actually put one into a sleep state any earlier than you would have normally been. That is why sleeping pills don't actually improve one's sleep. They are sedatives. They knock you out, but rarely does one rise feeling rested. Marijuana use works on the brain in a similar way as alcohol, but instead of decreasing REM sleep, marijuana actually blocks REM sleep. REM sleep is when the brain has its greatest rejuvenation. The sixth lifestyle practice is to turn down overhead lights. It's too much like the sun. We want those lights down by 8 p.m. Amber colored and reddish lights are most conducive for quiescence. Limit the use of handheld electronic devices by that time as well. If you must use a computer or device, be sure it is set on a night mode. Watching TV is less of an issue because it is further from the eyes and less light is beamed directly into our brain. The seventh lifestyle practice is to keep a cool bedroom. The National Sleep Council recommends 67 degrees Fahrenheit. I personally like it lower in the wintertime when I have a nice, cozy down comforter over me. The eighth practice is to take a warm bath or shower 1 to 2 hours before bed. Heating up your body causes a natural dip in body temperature as you cool, and this is required to fall asleep. It only hastens that drop and that lulling off to sleep. Have you ever noticed it is too hard to fall asleep when you're hot? You need a cool room. The ninth lifestyle tip is to go to sleep by 10 p.m. according to the time zone that you are currently in. Yes, this concept was first taught 4,000 years ago by Indian yogis. The 10th lifestyle tip is if you do wake up at night and can't get back to sleep, do NSDR. What is NSDR? It is a practice called non-sleep deep rest. It is a deep relaxation protocol that will put you in a deep, restful sleep and will help you get back to sleep or at least make you feel like you were. You can find a link in the description below for several different free NSDR relaxation meditations. Increasingly enough, this practice is also known as Yoga Nidra and was developed in 2000 BC by yogis, yes, 4,000 years ago. It is now scientifically proven that NSDR is a very effective relaxation technique to promote sleep. 11th, recent sleep studies suggest that consistently getting the same amount of sleep each night is more important than getting more sleep. Even a 1-hour variation decreases test performance by 17% in one study. A consistent number of hours of sleep each night is important versus sleeping less and catching up on the weekend. Sleep studies show that lost sleep can't be fully made up. Now, make no mistake, the 11 lifestyle practices are the most important ways to improve your sleep. But what if you need more? Here is my bonus tip. What if doing all these practices, you still wake up at 3 a.m.? The reason for this is related to your circadian rhythms. In humans, nearly every organ has its own rhythm or clock. The liver is primarily cleansing and repairing from 1 to 3 a.m. The lungs are primarily cleansing from 3 to 5 a.m. If we are anxious, stressed, or troubled during the day, our vagus nerve that controls all of our organs is overly stimulated and we can be jolted awake at 3 a.m. The solution is my bonus tip. I have historically had this problem of waking at 3 a.m. I finally decided I would no longer be a victim of my sleep, and I used my biochemistry knowledge to formulate 2 different solutions that are linked in this video's description. The first is Sleepy Time, an organic essential oil synergy or blend of strategic essential oils that absolutely promote sleep. For most people with sleep issues, Sleepy Time is enough. However, if you consider yourself an anxious person, that's me, or are abnormally stressed, I recommend using No Panic All Chill essential oil as well. You apply them both in the exact same 5 places: under the nose to inhale, at the temples so they can absorb directly into the brain. You can also dot it on the third eye between your eyebrows where there is a ganglion or grouping of nerve bodies at that point in the frontal cortex right behind the skull. And lastly, you dab it underneath your hairline, right here, right on your spinal cord at about an inch strip. If you are particularly stressed during the day, apply the No Panic All Chill oil before those stressful situations, and it will help take the edge off, give you a moment to think, and calm yourself rather than panic. Again, you can find both products listed below in the description. So there you go. Sleep is not a mere luxury, but a fundamental pillar. Join me next week as we explore how sleep impacts diet and exercise goals. Sending you love through my content. Please give me a little love tap on that subscribe button and that thumbs up button. Be sure to give me a hug by commenting below with topics you would like more help mastering. Until next week, take care of your beautiful self. and choose to be enlightened.